Hello Internet! Welcome back for a new overview of the version 2.2 of Advanced Themer, and we will check also the new improvements in 2.2.1. Okay, let's dive in. We have quite a lot of things to cover. And the first thing, maybe the most important thing from 2.2, is the new responsive helper function. Let's check that. First, let's go to the Advanced Themer settings, and let's go in the top bar, and you'll see a new item, responsive helper. Make sure to enable it. You'll see also new tags on all the features, whether a feature has been improved. You'll see the improved tag, or if it's a new feature, you'll have the new tag, just to help you navigate inside the options. Okay, responsive helper is now toggle on. Let's just refresh to make sure we have a fresh view of the builder. And the responsive helper consists in two different functions. The first one is based on the icon, the device icons here, and you see a new icon here, responsive helper, and we'll check both. So basically now with the responsive helper on, we have now not only one click, and we can change from device to device, but now we have two clicks that will move the viewport from the minimum value of the breakpoint to the maximum value of the breakpoints. So for example, here in the base breakpoint, you see if I go on the breakpoint setting and desktop, my width is 1279. Okay, so, and we didn't set any width builder. This is important. I will come back to this later. So, since we have no width builder, the full view is the default. But if we click again on the desktop base, you see that the icon is now yellow, because our breakpoint is now set to 1279. Okay, this is the minimum of the breakpoint to desktop. If we go 1 pixel below, it will change the breakpoint to tablet, and we will click, now it's tablet. If I click again on tablet, it will now be on 992, which is the minimum value of the tablet. If I click again on the portrait, it will shift on 991, which is the maximum value of the tablet portrait. And this go on for all the devices. This is pretty useful if you want to check if your view, your design is responsive on all the breakpoints, because by default in bricks, in vanilla bricks, you can set only one value that will be set when you click on a device. But you know, you can put the halfway of the breakpoint, but you are never sure that the maximum value of this breakpoint and the minimum value of this breakpoint will be responsive. So this is a good way to check on the fly, just by double clicking the icon, if the design match your requirements. Okay, so this is the first option of the responsive helper. But now let's click on the three dots here, and you'll see that now we have a range, and we can, you see that we have indicators of the viewport pixels that go from the higher, if you are in desktop view, so from the desktop view to the mobile, so like the icons, so from wider viewports to 0 pixel, Okay, and if we move the slider, it will also change the width of the viewport. So you can easily check if your design is responsive by just dragging this range. By the way, if you see, we have small indicators, yellow indicators on the bar. These indicates, of course, the changes of a breakpoint. And you see, if we cross the yellow bar, we also automatically change the viewport. So, for example, if I click on the section element, now I'm on the tablet portrait. So if I set, let's say 100 here, it has no sense, but let's just set 100. And I move my slider to tablet, you see that the value disappeared because we changed the breakpoint automatically without clicking the icon. And if I come back to portrait, we will have the value back. Just to show that it automatically adapts the builder to the active breakpoint. And by the way, if you go into preview mode, you will see that this range still stays on the top, and you can easily check if your design is responsive with the range. Okay, and if you go back to builder and click again on the three dots, it will go away. And of course, if you change the value in the width, for example 1200, and click enter, it will automatically adapt to the range and the desktop and the device icon. So everything is normally integrated in the core functions. It is also enabled for mobile. So if we change the mobile base breakpoint and click update, let's just save for now and refresh. We need to refresh because the value from the slider will change now. So we'll just refresh here. Because now, instead of having the highest value on the left, you will have the highest value on the right, because we are following the order of the devices. And now if I drag on the right, it will increase the viewport value. And also the double click are respected in mobile view. Okay. The last thing I want to show you here, let's come back to desktop for a moment. Let's set that breakpoint and let's set 1500 as the width builder. Update, save, and refresh. Remember, when we didn't set the width builder in the breakpoint settings, it was a full view, but now the maximum width, like we see here, is set to 1500. So if I click once, it will stretch the screen to the minimum value of the breakpoint, but if I click again, it will resize to 1500. It will respect my settings from the width builder here. Okay, and if I go to the mobile, the same thing. In my mobile portrait here, you see that if I don't set anything here, update, and I do the double click, my default double click is on 320. Okay, but I can change this value if it's too small for you, and maybe you want to see the value on 400, for example. Let's just change the width builder to 400. Update, and now if I double click on the mobile portrait, the value is 400. So you can set both on the wider viewport and the smallest viewport, you can set the width that you want your builder to be set. Okay, let's just stop for now for the responsive helper. And let's go back to the changelogs and check the news from 2.2. So enable and disable any bricks element. This is a new option in the theme settings. Let's go back in the global settings, builder elements, and now you'll see a new option here. You still can enable or disable the advanced themer elements for the dark mode toggles and buttons. But on the bottom, you have a list of all the native elements from bricks that you can enable or disable. And you have two options. You can enable, you can disable these elements only by CSS, and that means that they will not be shown inside the builder, but that will still exist on your server. Or you can decide to completely disable these elements on the server, which has some consequences. I will talk about it in a moment. But let's say I don't want, for any reason, I don't want to use images, for example, in my builds. Of course, you probably will choose other elements, but let's just make the example with the image. Let's disable image and save the settings. And let's refresh now. And you'll see that if we want to add an image from this menu, oh sorry, this is not what I wanted. I will deselect this for now because I just wanted to show the CSS version first. So let's refresh. So on my view, inside the builder, everything is like before. It didn't save it here, but it doesn't matter. It has no relation with what we are doing now. But if I click on elements, which is this one, okay, and I see the basic, let's make the normal view of bricks. You see that normally we should have in the basic, we should have image, but it's not shown anymore. So you can do, of course, the same with all the elements that you probably won't use inside your build, and just keep the elements that you normally will use on inside the builder, and don't get distracted by unused elements. Okay, but now let's do what I wrongly did before, is disable bricks elements on the server. And if we save the settings, you'll see that if we refresh, it won't be hidden on the list. It just won't exist anymore. So if you have existing images on your build, you'll see now an error from the builder. The element image doesn't exist anymore. And if I go to the preview on front end, you will see the same error. PHP class does not exist image. So it's a radical choice to disable it from the server. There might be some cases where this is useful if you don't want, in any case, to use a particular element. You can completely disable it. But if you are doing this only for the quality of life of not having unused element inside the builder and inside the element list, the best choice is probably just to not disable bricks elements on the server, but only hide them inside the list. Okay, this is a quite requested feature in the Facebook group, so hopefully this is useful for many users. And let's move on and let's go to the draggable structure panel. This is also a new feature. And this feature, you have to go in the builder tricks, you have to go in the structure panel, and in general tricks, you'll see a new option, draggable structure panel. Make sure to enable it, save the settings, and refresh the builder. Okay. So now a lot of users ask to be able to move the structure panel, mainly if you are building on a MacBook, on a laptop, and you have not a lot of width on your viewport. And now you can just over the structure title, double click, and it will automatically detach the structure panel from the window. And you see now that our design is taking all the widths of the viewport. And of course, now you can drag by hovering always the title and drag the structure panel. You can drag it wherever you want. You can resize it, of course, both from the width and also from the height. Okay, and we have a draggable shortcut here on the right, so you can still add your elements from the draggable structure. And let's say we want to put it on the left here. We want to build, but now I want to get back to the docked version. I will just double click again on the structure title and it will come back again in position. Okay, and if I undock it again, it will remember the position and the width and height of my draggable structure. Okay, so if I change it there, redock it and undock it, it will be in the center again. So you can move it everywhere. Of course, all the functions related to the structure panel are all the same. Nothing changed here. It's just that it's now draggable. Okay? This is it for the new feature, but I want to show you a few new improvements. A lot of this list is just bug fixes and small improvements, but there is a couple of things that I want to show you. The first one is the grid guides revamped. So if we go in the theme settings and we go to the builder tree general, sorry, not general, top bar, you see that we have the grid guides, and usually we add some options here to set the number of columns of the grid guide. I believe the gap, you were able to set the gap, and maybe not the color, I can't remember, but as you can see, it's toggled on and there is no option anymore from the theme settings. These ones have been deprecated. But now we can go inside the builder, and you see this is the grid guide icon that didn't change. It is the same, but on the right you see that we have the grid guide option now. If we click in here, we have new option that we can set custom grid guides by breakpoints. So these are our breakpoints, and we can set a custom number of columns, gap, and color for each breakpoint, and everything is managed inside the builder. You don't have to go back and forth to the theme settings to change it. And let's just set it to 12 with 2 RAM and this color. If I activate grid guides, you see that we have 12 grids like before, but I can now change the color to blue, let's say. Of course, you can change the transparency as you wish, and you can change the number of columns. Let's say we want only 6, and we have now 6 This is not draggable, but I believe you can see the 6 grids, and you can change, of course, the gap. Let's change it to 5 rem, and you see the gap is now more than the double. You can add a variable. I didn't set any variable yet, but it accepts any valid CSS properties here for spaces, so you can change anything. And let's now change the breakpoint, and you see that on the breakpoints we didn't change the colors nor the number of columns, but let's change this to 4 now, and let's say we want green with 10 rem, just to show you. And you see that now we have 10 rem columns. Okay, and if we go back to the smaller, we have again the 12 column that you can customize and so on. Just make sure that you save. If you want this to apply on your whole site, you want to click on this icon, save. Grid option save successfully, because now if I refresh the builder, these options normally will be saved. So let's reopen the grid option again. Here are they, and we have our 6 columns with the blue grids. Let's just activate it. And on tablet we have our grid with green columns. So everything is working here. It's a nice addition. So you can for example, you can set different colors of your grids by breakpoints. This is a visual help to see in which breakpoint you are. This could be useful for some users that don't want to mess up between breakpoints. This is a visual effect, and of course you can adapt your grids based on your design for each breakpoint, which is a really good new addition too. Okay, let's move on. Let's see if there is anything I want to show you from here. Oh yes, of course. There is a new improvement to the import, export, and reset settings. So let's go back to the global settings and click on the import, export tab. You see, it's quite changed compared to the old settings. Because now you can not only import and export the advanced themer settings. Before it was limited to the advanced themer settings. Now you can import and export a lot of more stuff. You still, of course, can choose to import or export the advanced themer settings, but you can also export the color palettes, the global CSS variables. If you are using global CSS variables, these are the global variables, okay? So now you can export, for example, you can make the distinction from the theme settings and the CSS variables. So you could just want to export your builder tricks, for example, but maybe you don't want to export your global CSS variables, these one. And you just want to import the builder tricks and the class and styles and everything, but not the CSS variables. Now you can choose whether you want to export both or just one of them. You can also export all the global classes. Of course, just a reminder, but the global classes is all the classes that you find here, everyone, okay, and you can of course find them inside the class manager. These are your global classes. You can decide to export them all, and also the theme styles. So the theme styles, just a reminder, if you go to settings, theme styles is these. If you have different theme styles, you will see them inside this drop down, and you may want to export them and import them inside a new website. Remember that the theme styles are really important if you are using the new function, the CSS variable manager, because if you are using them for example, typography. No, sorry, I can't remember which one. Okay, if you set, for example, here in this example, I set a lot of theme variables that are applying only on this particular theme. Okay, so there is a difference, remember, between global CSS variables and theme CSS variables. If you want to export the theme variables, you will want to export the theme styles, and all the theme CSS variables will be included inside the theme styles. Okay, so you can now import and export them easily. And of course, the same thing goes for the import. But remember, you can only import and export values for websites that have Advanced Themer 2.2 or future release installed. So don't try to import an old import file that you made before on a 2.2 version, because it won't work. The JSON structure file that you get from the export changed, and if you try to import this on 2.2, it will create an error. So don't do that. And this is true for the export and the export as well. So this is a new import and export feature, and it needs to be applied on all websites that have at least version 2.2 installed. Hopefully it's clear. And if you already done an export template with your previous settings, you will have now you will have to redo it to be able to be compatible with 2.2. Okay, and the same thing goes for the reset settings. You can now decide, for example, to delete every class, all the class, and you can just set global class reset settings. Sorry, and you will reset in one click all the global classes inside the builder. You won't have to delete one by one, but if you want a fresh install of your global classes, and for example, if you want to, you may want to use this feature. For example, if you have an import file, a JSON file with other class from another website, you may want to reset first the classes you created in the current website, and then import the fresh version of your classes, for example. Okay, so this is a use case of the reset function, and this is true for the color palette, the theme styles, the global CSS variables, and the Advanced Themer theme settings. Okay, let's see if there is anything I want to talk about. There are small improvements, and okay, just a quick one. Let's go back here. It's related to the superpower CSS and the new responsive helper. If we go in any element, let's go with this one, and let's open the superpower CSS. If you zoom here, you see that we have a new option to create a new media query shortcut based on the current media query view proposition. So let's say we want to create a media query for this one, so 1069, and I don't want to type media screen and blah blah blah. Okay, but I just want to create a media query based on this value. I just have to make Q, C, and tab, and it will create media screen and max width 1069, which is our current width. And if I want to add a root inside it in my shortcut, I will do Q uppercase, C, tab, and it will create my media query, my current media query with roots inside it already inserted, and my cursor in the right position to write my declaration, right? Okay, this is a small shortcut for the superpowered CSS if you're using it. And I believe for 2.2 there are some improvements, but you can go inside the changelogs and see them by yourself. Nothing major, of course. But now let's focus on 2.2.1, which is a release that fixed some bugs that was released on the previous release, and also some cool new addition. The first one is a style overview shortcut. So this is also something requested in the Facebook group. If you go to the builder tricks and you go in class and styles, in elements, you see that we have a new addition. Just like the class manager shortcut, now we have the style overview shortcut. Style overview is a really popular feature of Advanced Themer, and it allows you to see all the styles on a specific element and all the attached classes too. And now you have a shortcut from the element panel to open the style overview just from the builder. So let's go back here, and here you see the icon opening style overview. So you have to click, of course, on an element, and you will see this icon pop up. You can click on it, and it will now open the style overview with the correct ID and the classes. I have no styles there, but you can see that it opened correctly with the correct classes. This is an alternative to the contextual menu, so it's the same thing as right click on your element in the structure panel, and I don't have it here because I believe I disabled it. But normally if you go to the structure panel and you have here the option style overview that I disabled. Now you don't need to keep it inside the contextual menu because it will also work if you open it from the element panel. It's an alternative. Choose between them or keep them both if you want this quality of life to open it from the structure panel or from the element panel. Both will work exactly the same. Okay, this is a new addition from 2.2.1, but there are quite a lot of improvements. Okay, the expand spacing controls improved, so it's more a bug fix than an improvement to be fair, because before, if we go to the layout, I believe I have them already enabled. There was an error, let's say a bug, when you had the drop-down suggestion for variables. So if I write var, you see that now when I focus on a left or right input, sorry, it doesn't take anymore the full space. It just stay on the right or stay on the left. Because before, when I clicked on a suggested variable here, the focus changed and was messing with the selection for the drop down. And in some cases, even when you clicked on the right variable, it wasn't saved inside the input, which was a bad user experience, of course. By removing the focus states on these fields, the click works as expected on the suggestion drop down every time. Okay, but of course it was nice to be able to focus and have a full view on the left and right variables. I think it's not really a big deal to have them on the default view anyway, because this is a view you would have if you don't focus on it. So I think it's an acceptable compromise. And okay, so if you focus and see that it doesn't take the width, it's not an error, it's not a bug, it's the expected behavior. Let's go back to the change logs. Component class manager improved. So this is, I believe this is a really great improvement, to be fair. So it came from the Facebook group, and some user asked to be able to duplicate the classes only from a component. So we have already a component class manager. So if we right click on here and click on component class manager, you see that we will see only the classes that are applied on the component element. Okay, but the thing is, if I click on bulk actions, before I would have all my classes that we can see on the global class manager. So if you come back on the global manager, just to see, to show you, if I click on bulk actions, I will have all the classes here, and you can apply bulk actions on all your classes. But sometimes you don't want to apply things on all your classes, even if you can filter them with the option on the right. You may want just to have the component selection and apply class directly there. So if I want now to rename the classes and add, for example, prefix, and let's say hero, like that, and change, I don't want card anymore, but I want, I don't know, section. Sorry, I mean excluding, but I want to, sorry, let's remove this. Replace card with section. So section. Now you see that we can do this. Let's apply them. And you see that now all our component here will have hero section container, hero section block. All the classes applied to the components have been modified, and you could do the same thing for all the options. If I want to delete, I'm not in a component anymore. Sorry. Let's open component class. I want to delete all the classes that are applied inside a component. I will delete, and let's say I want to remove them from the global class list and remove them from the element. Delete classes, and now I believe they should be removed. Yeah, no classes anymore in any of these components, of these elements, right? Okay. What I want to say is, yes, another improvement that was requested in the Facebook group is a new option now. Sorry, I will do a refresh because I think that the delete creates some errors, so I will check them before release, of course. Oh, okay, now it's come. Okay. It was something happening with my window. I believe it created some loop. I will check. We'll double check anyway. But let's refresh. Okay, and there is a new option. The option is to be able to export here. Export a selection of classes. So in some cases you want to export and import some classes in a new website, but you don't want to import all the classes from your global list. And now you can do that. You can just filter them. Let's say that I want only the class background dark, and it will filter my background dark classes here. I can also exclude it. I don't want with 10. Okay, I don't have classes that contain 10 anymore. And you can also filter by groups. And clicking export classes I can do that now, but you see that class is successfully exported. My brick CSS classes JSON has been exported here, and I can use them using the core function of bricks. So if we click on section, you'll see that if we go, sorry, I never remember where is the import. Maybe no. There is a function to to import the. Maybe clicking on the, probably clicking on here. Sorry, because it's okay. Maybe if I click on here. Oh, okay, here we have export and import function. You can just click import and drag and drop the file that has been exported before inside. Drop the JSON file here, and it will import only the selection that you exported using the class manager. So this is a new feature from 2.2.1. Yeah, new export option in class manager. The last one I want to show you is the new option for the lock ID styles. So now it was requested to the group that if we go in the class and style, we have lock styles on element ID level, which is really useful to avoid adding styles on the ID level and rather adding them on the class level. Okay, but since we now have the class converter, a new way to be quick on building website is to build everything on the ID level, and then once finished, when you are done with the design, convert all your ID styles into classes. You can do that really easily with Advanced Themer. Okay, but in this case, the lock styles on element ID is on the way, because every time you have to unlock the ID styles in order to be able to style your components, right? So what has been asked is keep the lock styles on element ID level, but only if there are already global classes applied to the element. Okay, and let's just make some tests. I already enabled here. Let's go back to the builder, which is here. And okay, I will disable also the option that autofocus on the first unlock class. Okay, I will disable it for now. Let's refresh. Okay, so you see we have classes on all our elements, but now the lock ID is locked. The ID style are locked because we have a global class applied, right? But if I remove my global class, now automatically my element is editable. You can change them. But as soon as you have a global class, I will do it again, test class, for example. Now, of course, we are on the class level, it is editable. But as soon as I'm not on the class level anymore, the style will be locked. So this is a further protection, if you want, that that it is locked, and the ID styles are locked if you are already using global classes on the element. If you are not using global class on the element, it will be editable without unlocking the option. Okay, I hope it's clear. And I believe it's everything. There are also here and there some improvements and bug fixes, but overall I believe we did everything. Okay, thank you for watching. Oh, I just want, before we stop this video, I just want to remember that if you are watching this video in the Black Friday period, we have still a Black Friday running right now. And I just want to click on the pricing section. Just to make sure that if you watch this video before the 30th of November, we have a Black Friday going on with 45% off. It's a 3 years deal, and it's really convenient compared to the annual subscription, because by December of this year, all the annual prices will go up, okay, and you won't find the previous prices anymore. So this is an offer that is lower than the normal annual prices, and it's like half of the new prices, right? And it's grandfathered, so that means that when your 3 years period subscription will end, you will be able to renew to the same price, $199 for another 3 years, okay? Whatever the price will be, and of course in the next years, in the next months, we will still increase the price, but because the more we add the features, and we add a lot of features, the more the tool gets value, and it's my job to set the price to reflect this value, right? So of course next year the price will go up, and the next year again the price will go up again. But with this Black Friday deal, you are sure to seal the deal for the future and the next years to come, and you won't be surprised with a new higher price that will come later. Okay, so I really invite you, if you want to commit to Advanced Themer on the long term, don't hesitate. You can test it during 30 days. If you see if not a good match, feel free to ask a refund. And please don't ask me a refund like 2 minutes after you bought the plugin, because it's just disrespectful for me. Okay, please have a try to see if it's a good fit. If there is an error, of course, just contact me directly, but I'm not aware of any compatibility issue with other plugins right now. So and if there are, I'm super happy to jump on it and try to fix it. So please have a try. It's a complex plugin. I'm aware Advanced Themer is lacking of documentation for now. This is really something I want to work on in the next months and the next year. Of course, now there were a lot of other tasks. The Black Friday took a lot of time between support, pre-sale questions, and so I didn't have much time to dedicate to the documentation, but this is something I want to focus on in the next months. And I know it's a complex tool, but I really believe it's worth it. If you take the time to check each feature, see how it can improve your workflow. At the end of the story, all the time you will dedicate to learn Advanced Themer, it will repay itself like 10 times or more in few months. So it's really a no-brainer, I believe, if you dedicate some time to learn the tool and adapt your workflow to it. So don't hesitate. If you have any question on the Black Friday deal or anything, just contact me. And otherwise, keep watching what Advanced Themer will become. I'm super excited to see the new features in the next months and years. A lot of things are planned, but I can't speak about it now. I will keep the surprise. And anyway, I will stop the video for now here. Thank you for watching, and see you for the next video review. Bye bye everyone.